Welcome into the Beachside Blitz, where we surf the wave of sports. I'm your host, Patricia Caputo, and to kick off today's show, we'll start off with our first segment of Seaside Sit-Downs. And today, joining us, we have Mo Antonicello, who is a Cape May native and who also played baseball for Rutgers Camden this past season. Mo, how are you today?
Good, Trish. How you doing? Thank you for having me on.
Of course, Mo. I'm so happy that you were able to be here. And first, let's just start off and talk a little bit about your journey as a Rutgers Camden baseball player this season.
Yeah, so, I'll take a step back, I guess. I played for 3 years over at Camden. I went in, the 2023. Yeah, so 2022 to 23, 23, 24, 24, 25. So this past year, we had a nice, crazy, long year. We'll get into it more, kind of the successes that we had. I don't want to give away any spoilers yet. We will talk about it. But, we had a good season. It was a lot of hard work, a lot of guys that were involved. We had a lot of seniors on the team, too, so it was a good time. And I was happy to be out there with them. Happy to be able to rep Rutgers Camden, be a local D3 player for them, and it was a good time.
And before we get started talking on that journey, let's talk a little bit about your journey growing up as a baseball player and the work that you had to put in to get to this moment.
Yeah, definitely a lot of work, a lot of long days, whether it was tournaments, just normal games back to back, whatever it was. Even teams that I wasn't even technically on, my dad would just sign me up on, and I would be playing in random places just one weekend that I'd find out the night before, and then just all kind of building up to the high school level and then the collegiate level. It's definitely a lot of hard work. It was definitely a lot of fun. I'm happy I was able to play that game and give the time I was able to give, and happy to be where I'm at now as well.
Do you have a specific moment that you found out you were going to go somewhere that was kind of random?
Yes, actually. We were heading down the shore, and then, my dad randomly was just like, oh, yeah, before we head over to Forked River, we're going to play for this team in Brick tomorrow morning. And I was like, I was like, why, dude? I was like, can we not? This is middle of the summer, by the way. I was like, I kind of just want to go down the shore. I do not want to go play this game tomorrow for this team with these guys. I have no idea. I was probably 13 at the time, maybe 14. I forget. I was younger, and we go down there. I play with this random team. I don't even get swings before the game because I had no idea who was there. I didn't know who the coaches were. I just kind of showed up, threw the jersey on, awkwardly stood by the cages, got no swings in, went to play the game that day. I think we ended up playing 2 games. And I actually also ended up hitting a home run that day, so that was cool. But it was just a total trip. But that just sums up, my dad's love for the game. He didn't matter what happened. If someone called him up and they needed a player, I had no choice. I had to go. I had to play. And I had to do what I had to do. But, looking back, it was fun. It was good.
That's actually hilarious because I feel like you don't hear about that these days because everything's so structured. And now it's we need a player.
Yeah, and I'll even go back to my Cooperstown team that I went to. Shout out Cooperstown, one of the greatest places to play baseball if you are a baseball player. But I used to play, I don't know if people, I guess you could find this out. I used to live up in Nutley, New Jersey, and rec basketball up there was very big. So I'm playing in a rec basketball game on a Saturday morning. I think I'm in 7th grade, I want to say. And, after the game, my dad is just like, hey, just so you know, we're going to go try out for this team. They're going to Cooperstown, so we got to head out after this game, right now. And I was like, what are you talking about? Why are you just telling me this right now? He's like, we got to go. So we head over to kind of Wayne, New Jersey. We head through Patterson, go to Wayne. I go try out for this team. They needed one more guy on the roster. And luckily, I made the team. It ended up kind of being one of my favorite teams I've ever played on to this day. Shout out to North Jersey Extreme. But we went to Cooperstown with them. But it was crazy. I played a basketball game. At the end of the game, I'm looking to just have fun with my friends. My dad's like, no, we got to go try out for this team that you could potentially be playing on for this spring season, then go to Cooperstown. And I was like, okay, all right, dude. I was like, let's do it.
But then you went, right? You went to Cooperstown and everything. So talk about that experience for people who haven't been there, about the beauty of Cooperstown, like you were saying.
So I've been there a couple times, but obviously I only played there at Dreams Park. I never played at All-Star Village. I know that's a thing as well, but I played at Dreams Park. That was a week-long thing, and I still, to this day, will say that was one of the best weeks of my life. It's 104 teams, I want to say. I think our team ended up finishing 32nd on the week, but it was just a crazy experience. I know with people who have gone, people that do listen to this and are going to be able to relate to it with the pin trading and just being able to meet people from all over, whether it was California, Minnesota, North Carolina, whatever, Las Vegas. We played a team from there. It was just a great experience, being able to do that. I remember we played a team DeMarini from California. I'm 12 years old at the time. This kid gets on the mound. He's like 6'4", 220 pounds, throwing like 80-something miles an hour. And I was like, this is unreal. I'm like, how are we, like some young kids from North Jersey, playing against these guys that are getting flown out to go play there? That's how crazy Cooperstown is for people that don't know. Some of these teams get kids flown out there to play for them just for that week, which is just an absurd thing. But the week there was great. I also ended up getting to meet one of the owners, I want to say, of Cooperstown. I met him, and I got like his exact pin. I don't know if somehow you guys could look it up. It was one of the Cooperstown pins that I got from him personally, from one of the owners, so I thought that was pretty cool. But overall, the week there, I think, was awesome. Any young kids that have the opportunity to go play there, definitely do it. It was one of the probably the top baseball highlights of my life. That week was awesome.
That's so awesome. I'm excited to go one day because I have heard great things about it, just like you were saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Just how beautiful it is. And if you just have an appreciation for baseball, that you'll love Cooperstown. But let's talk about as you're growing up. So you've told all these crazy stories about how you've gone through all these teams, this, that, and the third. Did you have a moment where you said, okay, I can now possibly play college baseball?
Yeah, I definitely wanted to. I think high school is probably when it became more of a reality. And I went in, this is a funny story too, I'll just talk about it real quick. So I was like, this is not in like a cocky way, but I had a lot of confidence playing when I was younger, just with how much time I would put in. I knew the kind of the player I was, but going into my freshman year, I had played freshman soccer for Nutley High School. Then I went to try out for the basketball team. First time in my life I've ever been cut from a team in my life. I was pissed, like devastated. I was like, are we serious right now? Like, I just got caught for the basketball team. I was like, am I that bad? And looking back on it, it was great. I mean, that was the last time I ever played any sort of basketball in my life. I played some pickup games here and there, but after that I was like, okay, I'm done. Baseball, I'll stick with, maybe a little bit of soccer too. So anyway, the basketball coach was also the baseball coach. So going into that freshman year, so when he cut me, I was like, okay. I was like, you know what, that's fine. And in my head, I didn't say anything to him, but I was like, you know what, that's fine, dude. You want to cut me from this? When I see you in the spring, I'm going to be one of the best players that I could be, and I'm going to give you no reason that you should be able to cut me from this team, and we'll go from there when we get there. And I actually ended up trying out, and ended up being the starting shortstop, playing there as a freshman. I pitched a little bit as well. And then going into the sophomore year, I ended up playing JV over there. We had a pretty good team over there, too. It was fun. JV's a little more, you're like stuck in the middle in JV high school. For those that can relate, it's kind of like, it's a little odd, but it's a fun time. Face like weird competition every day, but it was cool. It was definitely a lot of good memories. And then, yeah, just throughout that experience, obviously, like going into junior year, just like it got more serious. And then you see other guys around you starting to commit to schools, and you're like, yeah, I could definitely do this. I'm on a similar level as these guys as well. I just got to put myself out there. And looking back, I wish I did reach out a little bit more to certain schools and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, what are you going to do? I still ended up playing at some point, so it was cool. But yeah, so then going into senior year too, played a lot more. And then my senior year is when I ended up committing to my first school, which was Arcadia University.
And let's talk a little bit about that high school experience, because you mentioned that you were in Nutley, but then you moved down here kind of in the middle of that. So how weird was that, having to go to a new school and having to prove yourself all over again because you didn't have that basketball/baseball coach anymore?
Yeah, another thing, my dad, horrible. My parents, I was going into my junior year of high school, middle of my high school career. I had a lot of friends in the town I grew up in. I created a very good life for myself there. And so we have a shore house down the shore here, obviously. We spent all our summers down here, and there's 2 weeks left in the summer. And my parents just randomly come up to me one day and were like, yeah, we're moving down here to the shore house. And granted, school starts in 2 weeks. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, why would we be, I was like, why are you saying that? I was like, we're obviously not moving down here. Why would you just let me know now? They're like, nah, like we've decided we're going to be moving down to here. And the best part is, they're like, yeah, and you're going to be going to Wildwood Catholic. And I was like, so you're telling me 2 weeks before that I'm leaving the town that I've lived in for 16 years and going from public school to Catholic school? I was like, are you guys insane? I was like, why would you guys do this to me? Like, not even a month, like couple months. You couldn't tell me at the beginning of the summer that it was even at least a possibility. No, 2 weeks, they told me, bang, my life flipped like that. I had to make a whole new group of friends. I had to just, like you said, prove myself again with a new group of guys. And best yet, I took a year off of soccer my sophomore year over at Nutley. And then on top of that, my parents were like, oh yeah, by the way too, after you get off work, this is like a week before school started, or maybe around the same time they told me we were moving. They were like, yeah, we're also going to have you play on the soccer team. Like, you're not saying no. Like, we're going to go bring you to this tryout. You're going to meet the coach today. And I was like, no, I do not want to play soccer. I was like, why do you guys continue to do this to me? They were like, no, you're going to go play on the soccer team. You're going to go. Trust me, it'll be a good thing. And they were right. It was a good thing. I met a lot of good friends going into the school there. And then obviously after that, junior year, going into the baseball season, I had to meet a lot of the kids on that team as well. But the cool thing about the Catholic school was I did hate it for the first couple months. It was very weird. I was kind of forcing myself not to like it. But then, flash forward to like middle of the year, I started to enjoy it more. The baseball season rolled around. Our team wasn't great, but we were all playing. We were having a good time, and then just like that, I was kind of back in a comfortable spot, and I was having a good time. So it didn't really matter. But yeah, it was a wicked situation.
That must be hard, especially as a 16-year-old when you feel like your whole life's ahead of you. And then it kind of comes crashing down in a sense of having to meet all new people and all new things.
It was definitely not fun. It was not fun.
But then the positive is that, like you were saying, you were able to commit to Arcadia, but then you also spent a few years at ACC. So can you talk about that journey from transferring and kind of hitting the transfer portal, so to speak?
Yes, yeah. So I ended up committing to Arcadia pretty late in the senior year. I wasn't too proactive. I wasn't reaching out to too many people. So I finally ended up reaching out to Arcadia because my one friend did go there, and his dad was helping coach at Wildwood Catholic, and he was like, dude, like, you're not committed anywhere yet. Like, let me get you in touch with the Arcadia coach, which he did. So thank you to him. And pretty quickly I ended up committing there, and I spent my time at Arcadia, and that was going into 2019 to the 2020 season. And obviously everyone knows what happened in 2020. So going into 2020, we were about 12 games in at Arcadia, and COVID ended up hitting. It was like we were a week out from going on our Florida trip. They were like, hey guys, like, with all this stuff going on, just be aware, like, we're going to send out texts, keep you guys updated, whatever. So we were like, all right, cool, we're going to Florida. At least, like, that's fine. Keep in mind, Westchester, I think it was Westchester. It was Westchester or Widener. That school had already closed down fully for the semester. So we were like, dude, how are we not, like, closed down yet? And they were like, oh, no, we're still going to go to Florida, and then we're going to play this weekend series before we go. And we were like, all right, cool. Like 20 minutes later, they were like, yeah, guys, Florida trip is canceled. We're going to be playing this weekend series, and then that's it. And then 20 minutes after that, they were like, yeah, weekend series is canceled. Like, we're closed for this semester. And I was just like, this is crazy. But with that being said, all before that, I kind of had an idea that I was going to maybe transfer out, especially with all that stuff winding down. I was like, PA is like, I'm not the biggest fan of Pennsylvania. Sorry to all the Pennsylvania fans. Philadelphia, the city itself, I like. But outside of that, I wasn't the biggest fan. I didn't really enjoy being out there too much. So COVID kind of coming was kind of a blessing. So I was like, oh, this is nice. I can just go home. I can go to junior college where I went to HCCC, kind of save some money, play there for a couple of years, and then kind of restart and then go somewhere else. So that's what I did. I ended up leaving Arcadia. I went to Atlantic Cape Community College, played there for a couple of years. Our first year there, we had a pretty successful season. We ended up almost beating RCGC in the tournament that year. We did end up kind of blowing it a little bit, but either way, the expectations for us were not high. So we did have a very good season there. And JUCO was definitely an interesting experience. So I'm happy we did that. And then obviously after, I transferred over to Rutgers Camden for the next 3 years. And if you guys are wondering how this guy had so many years, thank you to COVID. I got 2 extra years of baseball because of all that nonsense.
Okay, so let me ask you about the JUCO level, because I've heard some things about how it's a learning experience, so to speak, that's kind of different. So what would you say was the biggest difference from going from Arcadia to the JUCO level?
The biggest difference was the rules. Arcadia, so when you go to Division III or even Division I schools, so for Division III, we only had 4 weeks of fall ball practice, and you could only have 4 practices a day. So it was like a certain time limit. We were only out there, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it was a 4-week cycle that were it. You were started like middle of September, you were done by middle of October. JUCO, they didn't care. There was no rules, nobody cared, nobody regulated anything. So we started practice the end of August, and I can't remember if it was 5 or 6 days a week. Let's just say it was 5, Monday through Friday. We might have practiced on some Saturdays, and that was every single week until like Halloween. So it was like Arcadia, we had 16 practices. Atlantic Cape, we must have had 6D or whatever, like 40-something practices in the fall, whatever it was, because we were just practicing whenever we could. They did not care about anything. I remember my second year there, it's Memorial Day, and we played like a 14-inning scrimmage. I was like, is this even legal? I was like, why are we out here playing 14 innings on Memorial Day? But it was JUCO. They didn't care. That's how it is for a lot of JUCO kids that know that went there. It's like, yeah, it's definitely a learning experience. It was different. But at the same time, going to Arcadia the year before, I was definitely prepared, because I will say it was definitely a little bit easier. JUCO, it's like, yeah, you were there more days throughout the week, but as far as structure, it was only like a couple hour practices, maybe 3 max. It's Arcadia. You could have like a 6 a.m. practice in the morning, like a lift at some point in the day, then a practice. Like JUCO was just like, show up, you get your practice in, you were out. So it was different from that sense. But yeah, it was cool seeing both sides of the spectrum there.
And you mentioned when you were in high school that you wish you reached out more and things of that nature. Did you have to reach out when it came to Rutgers Camden and going through that JUCO to Rutgers Camden area?
Yes, it was basically the same process. It was just kind of get more footage of yourself, more updated video, send some emails to coaches, hope they reach out back to you, and then hope your coach could kind of just put in a good word for you. So the high school was the same way, but like I said, I didn't reach out too much in high school. But then JUCO, yeah, I ended up reaching out to a couple different schools, got calls back from some, but then, yeah, ultimately the Rutgers Camden coach, Ryan Kuhl, he got back to my coach very quickly because he knew who he was. He saw my email. So then my coach called me very quick, was like, hey, like, where's Rutgers Camden on your list? Like, is it high up there? Because if so, I'll get back to him and tell him you're interested. And I was like, yeah, like, if I can go there and play there, I definitely would. Like, a Rutgers degree would be a great degree to have. If I could play there, that'd be awesome. So my coach at ACCC at the time, Coach Velarde, ended up getting in contact with Ryan Kulik, and then Ryan Kulik got in contact with me pretty quickly. And then, yeah, I ended up kind of committing at that first visit because I was a fan of the facility. I knew I was going to be able to get some good play time there, and it was cool. It's close enough to home that it was not far, but not too close, if that makes sense. But yeah, it was good.
And before we go into your journey at Rutgers Camden, to kids who maybe are in high school or maybe at ACCC and the JUCO level, what advice would you give them about reaching out and just the process? Because it's so different now with social media and with video and all of that. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're interested. Even if you're not, even if you're on the fringe of wanting to go play at the higher level, just reach out anyway. Just see what options you have, and yeah, just reach out to coaches. Don't be afraid for a coach to completely ignore you. That happened to me too. There were some coaches that never got back to me at all. It's like, who cares? Just reach out, and then yeah, just be able to talk to them, kind of see where they're at, and like don't be afraid to tell them no. Say even if how bad they want you, and you could commit there, like weigh out your options, see what's the best financially for you guys, like as far as where you want to live, how the team's looking. Like I feel like at the end of the day for a lot of guys too, it's like play time too. So look at the guys that are on the roster already, see if you would kind of fit in there. But yeah, just reach out. Don't be afraid to reach out. Kind of get some video of yourself. Don't be afraid to ask your coaches to put in a reference for yourself, and just go from there. Like I said, even if you're on the fringe or not, you might as well at least try, weigh out the options, see if you can do it, and then go do it. And if you really don't like it, you can stop. Nobody's gonna make you continue to do it. Even if for the first fall you're like, yeah, this isn't for me, then like that's totally fine. But I would say at least try to do it, because I think at the end of the day, being a what's the term for it, an athlete / a student athlete, yeah. At the end of the day, being a student athlete, I think is a great thing for anybody. It's a great thing for your resume, a great thing for obviously jobs further down the road. And it just helps you a lot with like time management and just being able to do certain things outside of just the academic level. And then it's like you get to meet obviously newer people as well, have experiences that you weren't going to have. So if you can do it, just do it, try it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But my advice, just go for it, for sure.
That's great. And some of it paid off, because y'all can't see it, but Mo is wearing a New Jersey Athletic Conference champion shirt, and that came from Rutgers Camden. So this year, y'all were able to win and become champions, but it wasn't always like that at the beginning of the season. Y'all were kind of counted out for a little bit. So talk about that moment. What did it feel like going into the season when the expectations, statistically, and everybody online and the media had y'all so low, so to speak?
Yeah, so the expectations for us weren't very high, but it was typical for Rutgers Camden, just considering history in the past couple of years. But we knew the team that we could be. We knew that if we played our best baseball, that we could get into that position and ultimately win the NJAC championship. It's one thing we always talked about as a team. It's just we had to believe it, right? We could be able to do it. We knew we could, especially, and if it was the year, we were all talking about it like this would be the year, because this is the year that all those like older COVID guys were still around. So we had a lot of older guys, a lot of veteran talent. We knew that we'd be able to pull it off. We just had to put our noses down and grind and believe it, like I said, and really just go get it. And this season as a whole was a roller coaster of an event. Like, we all started out hungry. Like, all of us wanted to win. We wanted to win every game possible. We knew we had some tough teams on the schedule, like SUNY Cortland at the time. They were ranked 15th or something like that. And then going into Florida, there was a couple ranked teams down there as well. So we were a hungry program, and we wanted to win. And we showed that. We started off, really, really hot. We ended up playing another good team, a York team that I hadn't beaten in 2 years. They kind of embarrassed us like 2 years in a row. And then, this year we put up a pretty good game against them. And now I don't want to talk about that game. That was one of the most freezing games I've ever played in my life. But going off from that, we kind of knew that we had the potential to do it. And we ended up doing it, but it was a roller coaster. We were very hot, like I said. We were playing very good baseball. Going into Florida that first day, we play another good team in the country, Mount Union, played a great game against them, and then played UMass Boston, I want to say, another pretty good team, ended up beating them, and then we played Johns Hopkins, and it was a tough game. At the time, they were, I think, the number one team in the country. So, we knew we could have beat them, but we didn't. We fell short. What are you going to do? It's not that big of a deal. But after that, we went on just a horrible roller coaster of runs. It was just bad loss after bad loss, and it was like decent win after bad loss, and it was just like up and down, up and down, up and down. Like, every talk from our coach at the end of the game, he just sounded like a broken record, and he knew it too. He was just like, I don't know what to tell you guys anymore. Like, I don't know what happened to the team that I just saw in the beginning of the year that was, putting up an insane amount of runs. I think for the first 8 games throughout the season, I don't think we scored less than like 8 to 10 runs in a game. So it was pretty crazy. We were playing some very good baseball, and then it just immediately went downhill. So it was really hard to deal with. All our guys, like, we couldn't even figure out what was going on. We were like, what are we doing wrong that we weren't doing right the other day? And it was just, we could not figure it out for the longest time. But we continued to just believe, like I was saying. And then it kind of came down to, fast forward, it came down to like literally the last couple games of the season. We had going back, we had a series against Rutgers Newark. We split with them, and we all knew it. Our coach even told us, he was like, this is going to bite you guys. He's like, I hope you guys know that right now. And we were like, you're probably right. So then we go on to play a couple more series. Flash forward to the end of the NJAC play, pretty much. We were already done playing. We had another series against William Patterson. All we had to do was sweep them that day. And granted, William Patterson, great program, but this year they were not a very good team. We should have easily swept them both those games, but we ended up losing that game too, and it was a brutal day. All of us thought our seasons were over because we had to rely now on 2 teams, I guess, to sweep another 2 teams. We had to make sure that Ramapo had swept Stockton, which we knew was going to be tough, and then Kane to sweep Rutgers Newark, which we knew was most likely going to happen, but that Stockton-Ramapo game was very dicey for us, so we were all like, all right, this is it. Like, we just blew it. We just blew it. A lot of us were like all upset. Like, some guys were crying, like, damn, their season's over. That's it for us. And we were really going through it that day. Some of us sat at the field, I think, for an extra like 2 hours after that game, just like in disbelief, like, what just happened? How did we blow it? So then, flash forward to those 2 games, or that series games. Kane ends up sweeping Rutgers Newark, and then Ramapo sweeps Stockton, and we are all going nuts. Like, we go on a FaceTime call. We are like, there is no way that they just let the Raptors into the tournament. They're like, they should not have done that. So then we get into the tournament, are playing a tough game against Kane, end up coming back in the 9th inning against them, beat them. And granted, we're the 6th seed going into this tournament. So we end up beating Kane, who was the number 1 seed, then beat Montclair State, who might have been the 4th or 5th, I'm not sure, then beat Rowan, and then beat TC&J in the final. We ended up going 4-0 as a 6th seed in the NJAC. I don't even know if that's ever been done before. And on top of that, we won the first NJAC in school history. I think it was the first time in like 70-something years. And that moment itself was just absolutely unreal. I wish I could relive that moment and just that day in general, because that was like one of the most unreal things to be a part of, just that whole run that we had, considering especially what happened, in the middle of the season where a lot of us were like, damn, we are screwed. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll just ask you again. Like, what went through your mind when you realized that you were a champion and your team was a champion?
There wasn't a lot. It's like we were all just sitting in that dugout, like, holding our breaths. I know even my coach was like, I blacked out. He was like, after we all celebrated, he was like, what was the last out? He was like, what even happened? We were like, it was a strikeout, coach. We were like, we have it on video. We'll run it back for you. But yeah, like we were all in the dugout, like, oh my god, like this is about to happen. And then yeah, our big man on the mound, Jake Shapley, comes in, strikes out that last guy, and I kind of blacked out too. I felt like I was on cloud nine. I felt like I was running on nothing. I was running to the mound, dogpiled. I felt bad for the guys on there. They're probably suffocating. We're all going nuts. Like it was absolutely unreal. We're running around the field for like 5-10 minutes. We got the flag. We ended up grabbing the trophy. We're giving everyone hugs. We really like couldn't believe like what had happened, because like I'm sure a lot of us. There was even one kid on the team actually from down here, the Middle Township area. And it's kind of not sad, but it was like funny too. He's like, this is amazing. He's like, I've never won something in my life. And we were like, dude, that's awesome. Like I was like, that's like a pretty big deal to win. Like, as a lot of baseball people know, the NJAC is one of the toughest conferences in the country. You can even see that with 5 teams advancing to the regional tournament, even though we're the only team that won it. But yeah, going back to that, it was like totally unreal. Like it was a moment I'll definitely never forget. I know none of us will ever forget it. Those freshmen and those younger guys, you guys are lucky guys, man, that you were able to get that your first year. Hopefully you guys can get another one too, because goddamn, it took me 6. It took me 3 there, but it just took me 6 in general to get some sort of championship. And I know a lot of other guys too. There were some guys on that team. Shout out Jack Murphy. He was there for 6 years. He was at Rutgers Camden for 6 years, wow. And he was finally able to bring back a trophy for them. So that was awesome. It was a crazy moment. I'll never forget it. And yeah, I'm wearing the shirt right now because it was awesome.
Yeah. Just one of the moments you'll never forget. And as someone who was watching from afar, who was following Rutgers Camden, I have to ask about the social media guy. I don't know if you know him or if you know. Okay.
Simon.
I need you to tell me about it because he's hilarious. He really makes me lock in.
Yeah, Simon's an interesting guy. He's real quiet, but he's like he gets it, you know? He's like that. He's not the biggest, I guess, sports enthusiast, but at the same time, he has social media with other things. So he knows, like, the trends and, like, the certain funny things to post at certain times. And there were some times where we were like, Simon, what is this? But, like, we knew people were probably like, wait, what is going on here? And, like you said, you were entertained by some of it. But, yeah, Simon, he's a good guy. He was a marketing student, I think, at Rutgers. I don't know if we hired him or he just kind of volunteered. He came on for the team last year, I want to say, so 2024 season. He came on and was just like, oh, yeah, he's going to be our marketing guy. So we were like, yeah, no problem. But, yeah, he's a funny guy. He's a cool guy. Did a lot of our announcing, too. But, yeah, he knew the things to say. He knew what to put on social media. It was funny, some of the tweets he had, some of the pictures he posted. It's definitely entertaining. There was a lot of times where we were like, Simon, what is wrong with you? And we were like, at other times we were like, Simon, you're the man. That was awesome.
Yeah, I just cracked up because I agree with the memes. He kept up with the memes. Yeah. There was like LeBron James on one, and then I think he posted one where he was all the way up in the stands like, ref, that's a ball.
Yeah. So, yeah, for those of you who don't know, the Rutgers Camden field is this isn't even biased, it's just me. I will agree it's one of the coolest backdrops in D3 history, if not some of most baseball fields. Mm-hmm. But a lot of accounts and websites say that. But so we have the Ben Franklin Bridge over like all the way through right field, center field, going over the river there. And I don't know if it was him who went up on the bridge. If he went up on the bridge and took that picture himself, shout out to him. But I feel like he might have just gotten a picture from up there. But he took a picture from up on top of the bridge of like center field, and he puts the, oh, Blue, that wasn't a strike, like type picture. And we were like, dude, that was just great content. We were like, I don't even know how you're thinking of that. But yeah, that was one of those funny things and those funny moments that he kind of created for us.
You know, he was absolutely great, just like that team. And last thing I'll kind of just ask is this it for you with baseball, or do you ever see yourself coaching or doing anything somewhere down the line, or is it time to call it a wrap?
I've had this conversation a couple times. I know my dad hates to hear this, but as of right now, I'm happy with how it ended. You know, I went out as a champion of a great school, of a great team. I played a lot of years. Like I said, I did 6 years in college, which a lot of people do not do. And 6 healthy years, by the way. It's not like I was ever really injured. I did end up breaking my arm in between a season, but I never played a season hurt. So I played 6 years straight. That's on top of the 4 years of high school and every other year before that. So I paid a lot of time playing baseball, and I'm not happy to be done, but I'm excited. Like it's okay that I'm done. I don't miss it too much yet. I always say I think I'm gonna miss it a little bit in the fall, because that's kind of when it ramps up again. It's like I'm going to realize like I'm going to have so much time on my hand and be like, what am I doing with myself? But as far as playing again, as crazy as it sounds, if I don't ever pick up a bat again and if I don't play again, I'd be okay with it. Will I? Maybe. I might go play on a summer team one year. I know the league down here that I played in, the SJSSBL, I used to play for the South Jersey Surf, but Cape May has a team, so if I do want to play this one summer, I always can, or maybe go play on a softball league or something. Coaching, who knows? Maybe I'll help out the Wildwood Catholic team because my dad coaches that and my brother plays there. So we'll see. But as far as playing, if I don't play ever again, it's okay. I'm totally cool with it. But if I do, I do. I'm happy with how my career ended. It was a fun journey. I accomplished a lot. I paid a lot of time and dues into the sport. So if it's the end, it's the end. It's okay by me. I'm not totally upset about it. What are you going to do? It was great. It was a great run all around. And, yeah, I'm definitely happy for it. So, yeah, if we play again, we'll see. We'll keep you updated.
No, yeah, sure. Please keep us updated, Mo.
But for now, we're good. We're playing a lot of golf right now.
Golf is a new thing.
Yeah, golf is great. It's a great sport. So.
Hey, a lot of athletes after they retire pick it up. Charles Barkley golfs in Philadelphia all the time. So
all of them do. A lot of the major athletes love playing golf. A lot of them they get good at it too. Especially with baseball, it's an easier transition. So I have a little bit of the edge there. But yeah, golf is a fun time. It's like I tell a lot of people, it's like I like it so much because it's like I'm starting to play baseball again. It's like I'm trying to get so good at this sport that is so hard. And it's like, as a competitive person I am who's played baseball for so long, I just want to get so good at golf now. I was like, not that I'm the greatest baseball player, but I was good enough, to get where I needed to be. And now it's just like, I want to get good at golf. So it's just like a restart for me, but it's fun. It's exciting.
So maybe next year we'll have you on for like a golf segment,
maybe,
Yeah,
maybe me and Colin will get on here.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk about National.
Exactly, yeah. We'll have a Cape May National tournament live show at Cape May National with Giacomo and Colin. But thank you so much, Mo, for joining us on the Seaside Sit-Downs. This has been the Seaside Sit-Downs. We'll be back in a few moments after this break. That was just Mo Antonicello or Giacomo Antonicello joining us on the Seaside Sit-Downs. We'll be back on the Beachside Blitz in just a minute.